and it's something that struck me because, correct me if I'm wrong, prior to the building of the Kirtland Temple, there was no real, like today, we are privileged to have meeting houses, stake centers, and things like that. But prior to the building of the Kirtland Temple, there was no real true meeting house. They met in various homes, kind of like the early, the primitive church, Christian believers. They went from home to home, and also from synagogue to synagogue because they were still part of the Jewish culture and society in the
Well,
first
they were
century.
poor.
The
Right.
people were poor, and they actually, if you look in the footnotes, there's actually a link in one of these early verses where it actually links to the widow's mite story
Right.
when it's talking about building the temple in poverty.
So the temple, once it was built, was not just a temple for sacred ordinances. It was actually a meeting house for the saints to come and learn. And it was the very first meeting house. The temple was actually the meeting house. And so it just amazes me how everything has just been put into proper order and perspective. I think a lot of us as members today don't really understand or grasp the sacrifices made to build the Kirtland Temple and how it functions not just as a temple. I mean, can you imagine going to sacrament meeting at the temple and
Well,
having
they do.
sacrament?
They do have. You can. No, have you guys ever been to a ward temple night, like a session at the temple where
Well,
you
not
basically have
me,
like a
no.
okay, well,
It's been a few years.
but you will
Pre-COVID.
someday. And it's really fun. I mean, they don't like usually serve the sacrament, but it's basically like a sacrament meeting. It's really cool.
But I mean, can you imagine going to church and you're like, yeah, our building is just down the street. It's this big old temple that we go to. And it's interesting because the other thing that I wanted to point out that got me thinking about this too is that a lot of, from a Jewish perspective, they don't call them synagogues. They call them temples. And so even to this day, a lot of the Orthodox Jews and some of the conservative Jews, they refer to going to temple. I'm a big fan of what was that show with Fran Drescher, the nanny. She always mentioned about temple, and that was a place of worship. So the temple was actually considered a place of worship. And so it's interesting how all this stuff comes together in relationship to a place of worship, a sacred place of ordinances, and a place to receive divine direction and inspiration.
Yeah, they have like a Pentecostal experience there. It's really amazing.